was for the mayor. Fox 13 knows where she was. She joined our Hannah Kim for a forum where concerns about safety near North Aurora Avenue were also top of mind. Here's how the mayor responded.
So we're going to have more information very soon, and we also have emphasis patrols that SPD is doing right now with greater presence. We're stepping up the gun violence reduction unit in the area, and these are the immediate fixes, right? Like no illusion that things like this are solving the longer-term problem, but we are trying to take immediate action to improve conditions in the neighborhood because it's unacceptable, right? You shouldn't have just gunshots around your house, like into your house.
Well, with more on tonight's forum, let's turn to Fox 13's Alejandra Guzman, who was in attendance. Allie, what can you tell us?
Mayor Wilson spent nearly 2 hours taking questions from the entire community, whether that be public service, homelessness, and her plans to make the city of Seattle more affordable. Specifically, we told you that she was going to be talking about one of her latest and biggest proposals for you, the voters, and that is increasing funding behind a new sales tax to increase bus routes and public transportation. Some critics argue that Seattle already has one of the highest sales tax across the country and that this would only hit the hardworking families even harder. Still, Mayor Wilson says that as a state, Washington has a very regressive tax system and proposes that if you get behind this sales tax, it could save you some money.
I really want to get our transit system back to, surpassing our pre-pandemic levels of service, because that's really when people begin to be able to make that choice to not drive all the time and even make that choice to not own a car or to own fewer cars. About affordability too, right? Because car ownership is expensive, right? We're talking about average like $12,000 a year, right? When you think of all of the costs of car ownership, and we know how expensive gas is these days. So this is really about giving people those options.
The mayor also pointed to housing cost as a major driver behind everything from how much it's costing you to go out to a restaurant and even homelessness. She says the city is moving forward with plans to allow more housing in more neighborhoods, even considering downtown, while also targeting hitting renter fees. But homelessness remained one of the most debated topics of the night. Wilson says that she still plans on creating 1,000 new shelter spaces by the end of the year. Unfortunately, her goal of making and meeting the 500 goals before the World Cup will not be met. Still, 75 are coming to Inner Bay very shortly, but she also pushed back on claims that substance abuse is the primary cause of the homeless crisis.
It is very clear, again, that housing costs are what are driving the homelessness crisis, and drugs make everything worse. And, if you fall into homelessness, very often people become addicted to drugs once they become homeless. There are a lot of reasons for that. Or if they have, a light substance use disorder, that becomes a severe substance use disorder. So drugs are very entangled with the homelessness crisis, but the real driver is housing costs.
Residents also pressed Wilson on crime, specifically off Aurora, and asking and pleading for urgent action. She also addressed questions about open-air drug activity and says that a new program is coming to 12th and Jackson. And an even bigger question was whether the city should expand CCTV cameras. The mayor says a study on the city's camera pilot program is currently underway and that a decision on future expansion is expected before the end of the year. Now, this meeting wrapped up with Mayor Wilson saying that next year she's projecting a $175 million budget shortfall, which means that she, along with other city leaders, are tasked with closing that gap while still meeting critical services, something we'll continue to follow. For now, in Seattle, I'm Alejandra Guzman.